Hey, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon.
Good evening.
Again, same intro. Consistency.
We do a lot
man.
of the same, man.
Yeah, but feels good to be back in the saddle, man. We haven't been sitting here in a long time. A couple weeks, maybe. Nah, less than that.
No.
Last time
you exaggerate a little bit, but
yeah.
we're here, and we have a really special one today.
We do.
Well, they're all special.
They all are, and we say that every time. This is a special one. We're excited about it, but we really are.
Yeah.
It's special.
He's a good friend of the podcast, designer of clothes.
Yeah.
You probably have one of his shirts on right now, you listeners.
Yeah.
Or
you guys,
T-shirt, hat.
Mm-hmm. Actually, right now I'm wearing the Chasing Birdies. I guess it's a quarter zip. Is this quarter zip? Or
Quarter zip. That's a quarter zip Polar Tech. It's
Polar
the
Tech.
warmest piece of clothing that
Yes.
Link Soul
Put out.
makes.
I mean, I wore that.
It's
that
awesome.
Polar Tech zip up I used to
Mhm.
have. Play
hoodie.
golf in it. Hoodie. In Oregon, it was like 28 degrees and windy, and that Polar Tech really kept you warm.
Well, you had Steve Peering in your cart too, so that he probably keeps you warm. He's a little teddy bear, huh?
You know, laughing at Steve. Steve is I guess, runs the whole East Coast division for Link Soul in terms of sales. So a lot of y'all.
He really does though, or is that just what he tells us?
Who knows? You know, he talks a lot, and we love him to death. But
Again, he's a big teddy bear.
the jury's out on that one. But no, he was my partner, so I was warm actually because I was laughing so damn hard at the Link Soul 2-man event in Bend, Oregon. I have great footage. Steve, if you're listening, man, I got that great footage of you out there on the fairway.
We'll post it the day this drops. We'll post a video of Steve hitting some shots.
Yeah,
Or
a lot
attempting.
of fun. But getting back to the whole thing, Link Soul, everyone, you know, right now we have our promo code Chasing Birdies 25. We have on our podcast today John Ashworth, the founder of Link Soul.
Mm-hmm.
And
he founded another company that you guys are probably familiar with, Ashworth Golf.
Yeah.
And he's no longer a part of it. He is now with Link Soul and his business partner, Jeff Cunningham.
Mm-hmm.
They do an awesome job over there. I know, Ryan, you talk about their clothes a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Their Boardwalker short is the best. I'll tell you how good it is.
Tell me.
It was about 5 years ago. We're at Pete Dye Golf Club.
Where's that?
And that's in West Virginia, bud. You've been there a few times. We're at Pete Dye Golf Club. We're playing a big old scramble. And my team, we're in the front left part of the green on number 4, which is a par 3, lake on the left, front left, ball location, back right, pin location. And one of our buddies says, hey, Pep, if one of us makes this putt, you got to jump in the lake. And my father was the first one up, and he made the snake. Off came the shirt, jumped in the lake, and I had the Boardwalkers on, so I could play the rest of the day is my point. It's a bathing suit.
Yeah. That's
Yeah. Yeah, that
so you
was
played the rest of the day with that.
with those shorts on.
Yeah.
And it was like I was in a bathing suit. So anyways, if you haven't worn them, try them out. John Ashworth, he's coming in hot right now.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome stories from how he started to how it's going.
Yeah. I think we should roll it in.
Let's tap it on over.
Tap it in. Here we go. As you all know by now, Chasing Birdies is proud to be partners with Holderness and Bourne. Check them out online at hbgolf.com. Holderness and Bourne makes fabulous pieces that help you look good on the course, even if your game is not up to par. Check out their new arrivals now for this golf season. Also, head on over to chasingbirdies.com to get some custom Chasing Birdie gear from Holderness and Bourne. We'll continue to drop these pieces through every season. That's chasingbirdies.com and Holderness and Bourne at hbgolf.com. Could not be more excited about this guest. This guy, in 3 words, cool, humble, and he is absolutely one of the smartest businessmen I've ever been around. John Ashworth, founder of Link Soul.
Sounds like I got you fooled pretty good.
Yeah. Well, hey, proof's in the pudding, man. You've done a lot of good stuff over the years, and no, we're so happy to have you on the pod. So let's just jump right into this, John. I know you're out in Oceanside, correct?
Yes, sir.
Going back to your roots, getting back to when you grew up, how did you come into the game of golf, and what kind of got you into the clothing industry back in 1987?
Well, I came from pretty deep-rooted golf family, I guess. Both my grandparents on my dad's side were really good golfers, back in the 20s and 30s and 40s and stuff like that. And then, of course, my dad, being in that environment, he played golf early and grew up in the game. And then, and so when I was about, I suppose, eight years old, my dad he was a school teacher. My mom was a nurse. So very, super middle class, American Pie kind of deal out here. And I had 4 sisters and a brother. Brother's 4 years older. Hank, he was more into baseball at the time. He came to golf later, really. I mean, he played a little bit back then, but he was more of a baseballer. But anyway, my mom had this big plan to have us all go to Sunday school back in, the late 60s. I don't know, maybe there was a lot of stuff going down, and she felt that might anchor us or whatever. And so I went to Sunday school. I didn't know what I was getting myself into, and I went, and it was, it's a beautiful day, and you're in this, classroom all day, 4 walls, not understanding what the teacher's talking about, and didn't know any of the kids, and I guess I came home and I was just complaining, like, hey man, this is not gonna work for me. I don't want to do this. And,
school's not for everyone,
yeah,
right?
Sunday school, and then so I guess I was being such a pain in the butt. My parents said, okay, look, you got your choice. You either go to Sunday school or you can go caddy for your dad, because he had this standing foursome on Sunday, and Dawn Patrol deal, and I was like, oh, I'm in. There's no 2 ways about it. Sign me up for caddying.
So you lugged the old big belting bag, leather bag?
Well, no, he had a pull cart, which was great, and I'm sure he was probably pulling me half the time. But I was that's how I got introduced to golf. I'd go caddy for him on Sunday mornings with his buddies. They were good golfers, and they all walked, and so it was really nice. Looking back, I mean, I spent 4 or 5 hours with my dad on Sunday with a bunch of really good adult people, and talking about life and stuff, and giving each other a hard time at times. So I think if you can teach a kid, that sort of ethic at an early age, it just becomes part of their their makeup. And I think in my case that's what happened, and I got hooked on golf from there. I started playing myself, right after that.
Well, then you had an unbelievable amateur career, and that's where that led you to University of Arizona, correct?
Yeah, I started playing junior golf really as a 9-year-old, and just loved it, loved the competition, and just getting out there. And I played. Yeah, I was pretty good as a kid for sure. Won a few tournaments and San Diego City Junior, and just some other stuff around the area, and got a scholarship to Arizona. Had a very mediocre college golf career. When you're young, you think, oh, I'm going to go on the tour, but then when I got done with college, it was like, holy shit, I'm not.
Right, you start seeing who you're playing against and everything else.
I can't beat those guys. Realistically. Anyway.
So then you start looking for career opportunities.
Right, and I still didn't know what the heck I was going to do. I ended up getting my degree in agronomy, oddly enough, which is turf grass, study of turf grass management. Because I felt like I wanted to be around golf no matter what. I could either be a superintendent or maybe get into golf course design. I felt like there was a few avenues there if I got, could keep me around the game of golf. So I'm happy I did it. I didn't really use it for, my whole life until kind of now at Goat Hill Park. Not that I'm using it, but it's, I feel like it's not crazy to be out working on the course, and stuff. So
for the listeners, we'll get into the Goat Hill Park segment in a little bit and let them tell you a little bit about this place because it's special. Yeah. Sorry about the cutoff, but continue.
Yeah, no, it's fine. So after college, I kind of just, floundered around. I did a couple things. I was actually an assistant pro at a golf course for a minute, maybe 8 months, and then, sold insurance. I worked a couple other little odd things, and then my buddy Mark Wiebe, who I grew up with playing junior golf and high school golf and stuff. He was good enough to make it on the tour, and he was like a year and a half, 2 years ahead of me, and he was trying to get his card, but he was kind of, back then you could actually do it twice a year, and he was close, but he missed out, like, his first 6 times by a little bit. And he came to me and said, "Hey, why don't you caddy for me, in the mini tours leading up to it, and then we'll make a run at trying to get, go to tour school." And he had a sponsor, and he had some mini tour events lined up, and I was like, "Hey, that sounds great. I'm in." So I got to escape the real world for a minute there and be a caddy, and it was great because he would win some money in the mini tour. He'd always either finish first, second, or third. It seemed like every time, and then we went to do the the sectionals and the regionals, and then qualify, and then went to the final stage back at TPC Sawgrass, and went through 6 rounds of grueling tour school, and he made it. He made it easy, really. And so I went and caddied. I figured if he made it, I was going to go caddy for a year on the tour and just kind of travel around and see the country
and just to experience it.
Oh yeah, it was awesome. It's like being with a circus. This was like 1984, and it was just a blast. I mean, he didn't play particularly well. Made a few cuts, but I tell people it's funny, as a caddy, I was getting $250 a week plus 5% of what he won, and 1984, went a little bit farther, but not that much. Yeah. And then, but I think he won about 20 grand that year. So 5% didn't really add up too much, but it was a great experience. Oh my God, it was amazing. And I think that planted the seed. A couple of things about getting in the clothing business after that was the fact that, in college I couldn't stand our uniforms at all. It was really
tell me about it.
I was pretty particular in what I wanted to wear, all the time. And then, in college it was like these really bad polyester uniforms.
And they give you these uniforms and you have to wear them. So there's no ifs, ands, or buts. It doesn't matter your style.
No, like a red polyester Sansevelt slack with it was just gross.
I was wearing Tommy Hilfiger in college. At sizes, I was wearing double XL. It was handing me down from the team before. It was terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, that, and then traveling around the country, seeing what everybody was wearing, it was sort of like, oh my God, that's just the clothing so bad, But I didn't think of it then. But then I went, and Mark's sponsor was a guy named Jerry Montiel, and he and I became friends. And after a year, I was like, okay, I got to go figure out what I'm going to do with my life, and so he offered me a job being a manager and a buyer for a sporting goods store that he was starting in Denver, Colorado. So I moved to Denver, and I was like his first employee basically. And that was a great experience because I got to see all the lines and buy all the stuff for his shop. And
well, you got to see the retail side of it too. So that's important whenever you get into manufacturing and then the wholesale and then going to the retail.
Exactly. Yeah. So I got to see it from that side of the fence, and learned a lot. Unfortunately for Jerry, the economy in 1985, 86 wasn't very good, and super big inflation. Interest rates were like 15%. It was weird. It was a weird time. So it didn't really work for him. So he said, "Hey, if you stay on and help me close this up, we'll figure." He was very entrepreneurial spirit. He goes, "We'll figure some other business out." I go, "Okay." So we trudged through that, which was a terrible experience, but it was actually a good experience because you just never want to go into things. Hopefully they succeed, right? So,
right.
So through that, he said, "Well, what do you think would work?" And I said, "Well, I really think there's a real opening for a lifestyle clothing company that is easier to wear and feels better and looks better than all this crap that I'm looking at." So he said, bingo, I think, so off we went, really.
And that was it.
Ashworth.
There it is.
Yeah, 1987.
So in 1987, you start your own clothing line, which, again, at that time, you've made it clear you don't have a lot of money.
No.
You just have some life experiences, and you kick off this clothing line because you see this vision, how you want people, not necessarily want people to dress, but what you like in clothing. And so you...
Well, yeah, giving them an option. I always think of it as giving people options, and...
So you start Ashworth.
Choice. Yeah.
And take us through that because, again, I was just talking to somebody the other day. I mean, even if you do not play golf, I mean, you had an Ashworth shirt somewhere in your closet.
Oh, yeah.
It was just a staple of everyone's style.
Mm-hmm.
So take us through that. And I really want to lead into how you got, I mean, you look at the names that you had. You had Ernie Els. You had John Cook. You had Freddie Couples. I mean, Freddie Couples and Ernie Els are two of the coolest cats.
Top. Yeah, studs.
Yeah, no, very fortunate. I mean, when we started the company, we scraped together some friends and family money. And, even my dad tossed in, $7,000. We were doing this thing where, I think we raised about $150,000 just to get started, and $7,000 chunks. And that got us to, I mean, just me and my partner, and we scraped by. I moved to LA right away and kind of set up shop. And I didn't know what I was doing really, but it was kind of the school of hard knocks. And I felt I either had to move to New York and LA. So, being a West Coast guy, I thought I'll find my way around LA. So I moved there, and then kind of thought it would be great to get, a couple of guys that would really represent this, this feel, this vibe that we're trying to create. And, obviously, playing college golf, against Fred Couples and against John Cook and stuff like that. I knew those guys a little bit. I didn't know them really, really well or anything, but and also caddying on the tour. So I just approached them and said, hey, this is what we're trying to do. We don't have any cash, but we can cut you into the ownership of the company with some stock and stuff like that. And they, they were all in, they liked the idea. They liked what we were doing, and they said, we're in, so that was before we really, I mean, we basically had a couple of samples, and, it was different back in those days. I mean, it wasn't like it is now, with so many big companies involved. It was more of a cottage industry. And,
well, yeah. And right now the money's just flying around, for sponsorships. Back then it was a relationship to get that. And that's why I think the Ernie Els story that you have, how you found Ernie Els, how you got him to close, is one of the coolest stories I've heard. So if you can tell the listeners a little bit about that.
I hope I have the right story. I don't know. But my recollection was the fact that I kind of knew him on the radar. He was really young. I mean, he was 20 years old, but he was playing in the British Open, and he went up to our guy. We had an agent over there. By that time, it was probably, was it 92? I don't know. Was it 92 or 93 or something like that? So we had a nice trajectory, in the, the whole time, really. It was crazy. I mean, we were like doubling every year. I don't know how we did it, to be honest with you, because I think back and it's like, there was no cell phones, there was no personal computers. We had a fax machine. I mean, that was it.
That's crazy.
I mean, I don't even know how in the heck we did it, to be honest with you. It's mind blowing. But anyway, so Paul Gilbert, our agent over in the UK, goes, hey, this kid, Ernie Els, came by the stand and he wants to wear our clothes. And I had already kind of knew of him, and I thought, well, yeah, give him whatever he wants, Right. And then, and then we got hooked up after that, and we talked, and sure enough, we I can't remember what we figured out, but we brought him on board, and he became this, amazing Ernie Els kid, went to a couple U.S. Opens and all that stuff. So, we were very, very fortunate in our, on our guys. And I think we did a really good job of creating a brand and with them and around them with really beautiful black and white photography and kind of timeless.
It was so cool. I don't forget the advertising you had. You had the magazines that were black and white.
Yeah.
I remember having the T-shirt the black and white
Yeah.
T-shirt, Ashworth, and you had Ernie on it and Freddie, and just the marketing. I mean, at that time I was 7, 8 years old, but Ashworth was in your face, and you followed it because of those guys. I mean, so you have Ernie Els, 1992 Masters tournament, Freddie Couples wins. What does that do? I don't think people understand what that does to a brand when somebody can win a major. And you know, real quick, you know, something like Justin Thomas yesterday, he wins wearing Grayson, and he's not even getting paid. Great. I bet you Grayson's Monday morning's been really nice. So what does that do whenever somebody like that wearing your clothes wins, especially the Masters?
Yeah, no, it's huge, really. I mean, it's hard to even put it into any kind of, you know, scale. But it, you know, for us at the time, I mean, yeah, we were, like I said, we were kind of like almost doubling our revenue every year. You know, we went from 0 to, you know, 90 million in 10 years from nothing.
That's unbelievable. I mean, that's just hard work and at the right time.
Yeah, it was just timing and luck and hard work, and, you know, everything rolled up into one. And, you know, good people, always got to have good people. I mean, that's like at the top of the list, all the way through the company, you know, people that care and, you know, are into it, and, you know, it's really important. But then all the other stuff, you know,
comes in, falls in line,
combined.
Yeah, and at that point in time, I mean, you had to make sure the fax machine was full of paper because, again, we're in, you know, a different age at that point, you know?
Well, yeah, totally. And it was all wholesale business. There was no direct business like today. I mean, today now everything's direct, you know? I mean,
and if somebody doesn't get an answer today, within 10 minutes, they're texting you again saying, hey, is everything all right?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, Bud, why don't you just let me read your text message first, huh?
Yeah.
Right.
So the whole Ashworth thing kicks off. You end up selling it out, and you had a non-compete, I assume, for a few years.
Yeah, I actually didn't really sell out. We became a public company very early on. We were a public company, and that's all well and fine until it, you know, and then they, you know, you start making bad decisions based on, you know, quarterly reports and all that stuff, and that's why, you know, after 10 years, I was a little bit kind of burnt out, to be honest with you. And we had brought in a professional manager guy who, I don't know, he and I didn't get along. You know, we disagreed a lot. I finally got to a point where it was like, you know, I'm not having fun anymore. This is like not what I signed up for, you know. And I had a really cool opportunity over in Scotland to work on this golf course development. And so I decided to kind of take a sabbatical and I basically resigned my position, and I ended up never coming back. But I thought I would come back someday, but it didn't really work out. But anyway, I went on to do stuff that I really wanted to do, and the company still did good until it didn't. It kind of reached a point, and lack of leadership. And yeah, they weren't really. They were sort of going on fumes for a long time, and then boom, the shit hit the fan. And then you know, they did sell. I came back as a consultant 10 years later because it was so messed up, and it wasn't too far beyond fixing, but they ended up selling it to Adidas, who didn't do a great job of, you know, shining it up, and they ended up selling it to some Chinese company, I think.
Well, then you start Linksole, which, funny enough, I was introduced to Linksole when you first started by a good friend of yours and Michael Sims, which Simsy is the best, and he gave me a Linksole hat, and I still have that hat, which it's awesome, a little pinstripe, little Linksole hat. But you start Linksole. How did you come up with the whole idea of Linksole, Link Soldiers?
Yeah, it's you know, I mean, as we all know, golf is just an amazing game to connect people.
It is,
and you know, in so many different ways, and it's a game. It's so deep and so rich, and in a way, it's kind of been hijacked a little bit by professional golf because it's so much deeper than that. Everybody kind of lives and dies on that a little too much to me. But I love recreational golf, like the LS two mans, like we do, and just out at Goat Hill Park. I mean, here's not to get sidetracked, but yesterday I played golf with Byron Scott, Matt Janella, and two of Byron Scott's buddies from LA, and we had such a ball on the golf course. And where on earth would five people like that get together and spend quality time?
Yeah.
It just wouldn't happen. Where are you going to go? I mean, it just, that's the only, it kind of struck me. It never ceases to amaze me how, it's just a connection, that you never know where it's going to go, but it's typically always positive. You're out in nature and you're just, you're suffering because it's such a hard freaking game, and everybody's suffering together, and then you hit the occasional good shots, or you make some putts, and everybody's happy, and
you're chasing birdies. You're chasing birdies.
Yeah, exactly. So exactly, like your show, exactly. So, but I don't know if you ever read Golf in the Kingdom. Did you ever read that book?
No, I have not. You read it, John?
I have
not.
You can't
read. It's kind of a cool book. It's kind of, I know nobody reads anymore, but it was written in 1972 by Michael Murphy, and it's a really esoteric, cool golf book. You should read it. And then he wrote a sequel called The Kingdom of Shivan's Irons. So in that book, there's a line that says, "Golf is what links the soul to the flesh," which is, that always struck me. And then I just combined it to link soul, and basically, for me, it's what, golf links souls, basically, is what it means to me. And so many different ways, and so many, there's no, there's no race, there's no religion, it's just golf, and it's the truth. It's like, it's hard, and but everybody's got their own game, everybody's in control of their own game. They can do whatever they want with their game, so
I do have to agree with you. I think the perception on golf, you use the word hijacked, and I think there's some truth behind that, because I know for me personally, John, it's like if I'm on the golf course at 3:00 in the afternoon until sunset, there is no other place in the world I'd rather be. Coming down the stretch with the sun setting, you're with your buddies, it's lax, you have some music, where can you beat that? You can't.
Where would you rather be? Nowhere.
Nowhere.
I know.
And the whole youth of golf, with the younger golfers ever since Tiger, but the youth of golf right now, it's created a different vibe within the golf world. And now we have other business ventures, kind of extending off of that. Look at Topgolf, for example. I mean, it's just a glorified driving range, but what it does is it invites people who would say, I never would golf before, to, hey, let's go hit Topgolf up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
So getting back to Link Soul, there is definitely a type of vibe that your company puts out differently than any other clothing company out there that I see. And I'm a huge supporter and fan of Link Soul. Always have been since the inception of Link Soul. And I want to touch a little bit on, your idea in terms of how you got the company to where it is today, some of the tour guys that you had to kind of round up and put in your corner, and touch briefly on, your newest signing this year of 2021 with Bubba Watson. Like, how did that happen?
Yeah, that's a good one. But it's actually, Link Soul is also just an evolution of, of being able to design clothing and style and, be have that be an option for people. Because I did look around and, for me, it was almost deja vu. It's like the clothing is now, it's kind of, this is 10 years ago, let's say. I mean, it was still, all the big athletic companies that make all the polyester stuff, and it's all looks like a golf uniform instead of just something that's cool to wear, So it all started back kind of the same with Ashworth. So it was sort of like this deja vu feeling. And then I had spent a lot of time with my nephew, Jeff Cunningham, who's my partner and co-founder of Link Soul. He's 15 years younger, but he kind of grew up really close to our family. And, we worked together on a couple other things. And anyway, he's an amazing artist, and he is responsible for the visual presentation of our company in terms of photography and T-shirt art and all that stuff. So in my mind, he's a bit of a genius. And but we've had a chance to really, dig into what we're about over the years and what we want to create. And he's, thankfully he can bring all that to earth, through his, mouse, and computer.
Yeah.
And and we can bring it to a 3D, point of view. But so, I felt like there was definitely some unfinished business in just the vibe, creating a vibe and creating clothing that goes with that vibe, and something that's inclusive and isn't country clubby so much, and that's fine. But more, and that's kind of where when we do talk about Goat Hill, it's incredible to have that reflection of a place that is like that and inclusive like that. So, but then we took the stance on the tour thing, and again, we started this on a shoestring budget. It wasn't like people were throwing money at us. It was right after the recession, and like everybody's like, oh God, the world, even me too, like the world really needs another clothing company, so
yeah.
But we felt like it did, so
hey, that's all that mattered at that point. It's what you thought.
So our stance on the tour thing was like, what, we can't afford to pay anybody. I mean, if anybody wants to wear it and we that contacts us and we think they're good people, then we'll give them clothes, and so that was kind of our stance. We didn't really want to pay any guys to wear it. We wanted to be more recreational and more for the average guy anyway, and we couldn't compete with guys getting paid $1 million. How could we? So that was kind of our stance, and then oddly enough, I mean, right when we got started, Jeff Ogilvy contacts us, goes, "Hey, I saw your stuff. I'm not wearing anybody's clothes. I'd rather wear your clothes than anybody else's." And we're like, "Oh God, he's one of the coolest guys ever." So yeah, okay, sure. And then boom, Lucas Glover, same thing, and he's such a great guy. And so right away we get two really, major winners and kind of, guys that I think are cool. And
yeah, big time.
And then we've gotten a handful of other, younger guys, and then, and again, people that have approached us. Have you heard of the kid that played at Pepperdine? He's like number one in Sahith Tagala. He's an Indian kid.
Oh yeah, I saw that. I saw he's wearing your clothes.
Yeah, he's amazing, and so he's wearing his. And then out of the blue, Bubba Watson's agent, who I know, Jens Beck, calls me and says, "Hey, a couple months ago, he's like, hey, Bubba's no longer with whatever the brand was he was with. I think it was
Oakley.
Yeah, it was Oakley. He's no longer with Oakley. He really likes what you guys are doing, and is wondering if it would be, if you would be interested in trying to figure something out." And I said, "Yeah, yeah, we'd be definitely interested. We don't really
figure something out.
Yeah, we don't really have, we don't have, I just want you to know up front, we don't like pay anybody or have a buddy." He goes, "No, it's not part of the thing really." And it turns out that we were doing a round of financing and we're trying to raise some money. He ended up investing $500,000 in the company. So not only we're not paying him, he's basically investing in the company, which is awesome. And so I never met him before, and it turns out, I was not one way or the other on Bubba Watson, but I really love the guy. I mean, I can't tell you how nice he's been to us and what a great guy he was to hang out with. And, and how much he does for charity, and and how incredible of a ball striker he is,
Yeah.
shot maker.
Well,
And he came from a Muni background, and he's a sweetheart of a guy. I really like him a lot, and so we're thrilled to have him. We'll see where it goes. I think he still has a lot of gas in the tank, and he does move the needle. I mean, people like to watch him, and he was my mom. I told him, I go, you are my mom's favorite guy, like hands down.
That's so funny. Well,
Yeah.
So you go from Bubba Watson, now another person that you have that's in your building, a little behind the scenes, Peter Beams. This guy
Oh yeah.
Beams.
is an absolute legend. And before you say anything about Beamers, I got the funniest story. So Bash and I come out to see you guys. This is probably what, Bash, 5 years ago?
2015,
Yeah, 2015. We come in, we're hanging out. Beams grabs a golf club, tells Bash, here, grip it. Bash grips it. He said, you're 15 handicap. Bash said, take 16 off that, bud.
Oh, Beams, he said, what the hell? It looks like you're riding a Honda motorcycle. I said, oh, man, that's what I'm
But this guy's awesome. So what does Beams bring to you? I mean, he's got so much knowledge.
Yeah, he's just he's just this sage of a guy. He's been around the world. He just brings that whole element of the wise old owl.
Yep.
And he's great to be around. He's always positive. He's a bit crazy, but in a good way. But so.
Well, we all are a little bit.
Yeah,
we
absolutely.
all are. You gotta be
absolutely.
You gotta be a little crazy.
Yeah, he's a golf savant though too. I mean, still to this day, he has one eye too. He's got a glass eye in one of his
No
eyes.
way.
But, yeah.
I didn't even notice that.
Yeah, no, he doesn't really show that much, but
He doesn't pop it out.
No, he doesn't pop it out.
All right. No, well, so you got a whole good crew. I mean, I love your brother Hank. I had the pleasure of getting to know your sister over the last couple of years playing out at Pronghorn, which, by the way, folks, Pronghorn out in Bend, Oregon. Linksoul puts on about 4 or 5, 6 different what they call LS two-man events. If you have an opportunity to take a buddy, take your fam, these are all family-friendly events. Mm-hmm. These events will not disappoint. They are an absolute blast. And want to touch briefly, John, on, again, in the beginning of the podcast, I mentioned how you are an extremely humble guy for all the success that you've had, all the people that are in your corner. Again, people make everything what it is, but you have to have that visionary in place, and I do believe that is you. Kind of switch over and talk a little bit about how you took this Muni piece of property in I guess it's is that San Diego County?
It's in Oceanside.
Okay, and how it became Goat Hill Park. It's par 65, and it's a great place for the community to get involved. So touch a little bit on that.
Yeah, I mean, it's been around since 1952. It was actually originally a 9-hole course, regulation length, and it's literally right off the 5 freeway, on this little rolly land. You guys have been there, right? You guys have played it.
I personally have not played it. Been there, have not played.
Same thing here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Kind of rolly landscape, ocean views. It's a beautiful piece of property. And in today's world, it would never be built, just because it's really $100 million piece of property in Southern California.
Wow.
And so it's, as the crow flies, it's about a mile from Linksoul. We're in Oceanside. It's just over the hill. And so we had just started the company, and I've played it as a junior golfer back in the 70s, and, so it's been around.
Yeah, a little nostalgic.
And, so, we started playing it again. Jeff and I would go up and play 9 holes 2-3 times, 4 times a week, and it was always in crappy shape, but it was fun to be up there. It was $10 to play or something, it was not much to play. And we just saw it just progressively getting worse and worse and worse. And they had once talked about the San Diego Charger Stadium being on that site, so there was always kind of talk of it being developed. but the city owned it, and it was protected by a municipality that said if it ever was going to get developed, it had to go to a vote of the people. So they put out an RFP on it. So all these big time developers were circling the wagons, and we thought, God, we can't just sit back and let this happen.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, this would be a drag. I mean, here we are, you know, preaching all this stuff, you know, and we're literally a mile away, and we got to do something. So we put together this, you know, little bullshit, you know, proposal, but it was from our heart. It was very banal. It said, hey, we're going to save the golf course. We're going to fix it up. We're going to have it be the home of the North County Junior Golf. We're going to build a 3-hole kids course. It's free for kids. You know, we're going to one day build a like a little clubhouse for special events and yada, yada, yada. So we insert this plan with all these other guys that are going to build, you know, like housing developments and strip malls and all this stuff. And we did this whole Save Goat Hill propaganda thing with, you know, we got Bill Murray somehow to put a T-shirt on, and, you know, Mark Wahlberg and, you know, Adam Scott, a bunch of Charlie Hoffman, a bunch of local golfers. And we kind of charged and went to the city council meetings, and, you know, and sure enough, you know, everybody in the community got behind us, and so the city council, but okay, you know, we're gonna have to go with this plan to save it. And I was like, holy shit! Now what are we gonna do? We don't,
Wow.
you know, we just started Linksoul.
Now you got it.
It's like, oh my god, you know, we had to come up with $3.5 million in the first 2 years. We got so damn lucky because of the drought in California. The California Water District had this plan that they would give, like, if you were a homeowner, let's say at 1,000 square feet of grass, and you took it out and put rock in, or, you know, cactus or whatever, if you took your sprinkler system out, if you reduced your sprinkler system footprint, they would give you $2 a square foot.
Wow.
Okay, you know, and so, but you could get you could put in a commercial proposal. So I put in a commercial proposal for 27.3 acres.
Wow. Okay.
Which came up to $2.5 million.
Wow.
So we got a grant for $2.5 million, which was great because the irrigation system was from 1952, and it was like whack-a-mole.
Yeah.
You know, like it was
Yeah,
always,
it pops up.
like a hole. Yeah. So we were able to redo the whole irrigation system and main line. And anyway, it was all very fortunate, and so we've been able to save it. Bottom line, I mean, we've been running it now for 7 years. Every year we've had more rounds of golf.
That is so rad.
COVID's been amazing for golf, as you guys probably know. I mean, the year before, let me see, 2019, we did 28,000 rounds.
Wow.
In 12 months, and in 2020 we were closed the whole month of April, and we did 42,000.
Wow.
That's unbelievable. That's fantastic. That's so good to hear.
Isn't that crazy?
That is insane.
And I mean, I'll be honest. I follow you guys on Instagram, and it looks like the time of your life when you're out there.
Oh, I love it. No, I mean, I tell people, you know, we did the Save Goat Hill, but Goat Hill saved me, really, personally. Yeah. Like,
that is like the epitome of the show, chasing birdies, and we chasing birdies in life. You know, you're doing good things, and that's what it's about, man. It's connecting to people, your passion. That's a really cool story. Par 65. So is it still 9 holes?
No, it's 18 holes. It's 18 holes.
Love it.
It's everything you want. I mean, it's the shot value is amazing. We have 8 par 3s. They're all different lengths, you know. So I mean, cool shots to hit the par 3s, you know. And then there's 1 par 5 that's, you know, totally reachable, but it'll jump up and bite you in the butt if you're not careful. And then there's 9 par 4s that are all between like 300 and 340. But they're kind of quirky, and the greens are always really pretty good. And you know, we fix it up. You know, our whole motto is day by day. Like, we're trying to fix it up every day. We're trying to do something positive. And
do a little here, do a little there.
Yeah, we built that 3-hole kids course, which is just amazing. I mean, it's so heartwarming to drive up the driveway and you see these, parents and little 4-year-old kids running around.
That's so good. Good for you, man. That's good juju, and that's that agronomy degree going to work.
Yeah, exactly.
So we're gonna transition into the last part of the pod. By the way, dude, 65, man. You shot 65 through 12 the other day at Pinehurst. You'd be right on par.
You'd be right on par.
Transition right now to the last segment of the podcast with Jonathan. It's called the Tap-In segment. So basically, Jonathan's going to ask you about 4 or 5 different questions with your one-line response, and I'll hand it over to JP.
Yeah, the Tap-In segment is brought to you by 44 Concierge. They are the premier concierge company for professional athletes. Started by current NHL vet Nate Thompson, 44 makes sure that all the moving parts of an athlete's life are organized and handled, so you just worry about scoring the winning goal or draining that birdie putt. 44 makes sure their athletes enjoy more and worry less. Check them out at 44concierge.com. All right, John, here we go. First one, tacos or burritos?
Tacos.
I'm a taco guy myself. So
Carne asada. California burrito, though. You can't beat that.
Yeah.
All right. Persimmon.
Oh, our Link Soul. I play him with the GOAT exclusively.
Love it. Yeah, I saw a picture with that.
Yeah, I don't even think twice about that. That's in my bag. But if I go to a big course, I'm not opposed to taking a medal with it. I do pick up an extra 25.
I've had a persimmon on order through Hammer for about 2 years now, so I'll just wait for that one.
Oh, really? Damn, man. You're going to the wrong Ashworth brother, man.
I know. All right, number 3, your favorite major.
Open Championship by a mile.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's kind of that Link Soul feel as well.
The OG, man.
It is. Yeah, it is.
All right, the last one, and then you're out of here. Skater or surfer?
Surfer.
Yeah, well, for all the listeners, Link Soul makes the best golf short out there right now, the Boardwalker, and that's the beauty about it. You can go surfing, or you can go peg it up at Goat Hill.
Yeah. Chasing Birdies 25 over at linksoul.com.
And please go check him out. Check them out at linksoul.com, and go check out goathillpark.com because it is a really cool story, and they're doing a lot of good out in San Diego.
Really good.
John, thank you so much. You're an absolute beauty, and enjoy your sunny day out there.
Yeah, appreciate your time, John, and
I wish you guys all the best, man. Good talking to you.
Always good, and we'll see you soon.
All right, guys.
Take care.
Cheers.
Thanks.
Bye.
What a hell of an episode that was.
He's awesome.
Yeah, such a cool guy, man. I mean, like I said in the beginning of that episode, he's extremely humble. He's done extremely well, and you would never know it.
Yeah.
You know?
I've never played Goat Hill, and I want to get out there.
Yeah.
I want to get the boys out there. You know, maybe we head out there 2022, take a bunch of guys out there, and we play the Goat Hill Park. Par 3. Do
a little Cali loop.
Yeah.
Now it's good operation.
I might be able to break par for once.
Yeah. Well, it's tough for you, but you and I are trending in the right direction right now, so that's all we got to say, okay? Just leave it at that.
Oh.
All right?
We are ready.
Yeah. So we're good. But listen, everyone, appreciate the listens today. I hope y'all enjoyed this episode of Chasing Birdies with John Ashworth, and I think we'll be back here in a week, dropping another episode.
Yeah, May 6th, we're going to do a little banter session of Mr. Bashauer and Mr. Peppy.
Yep.
So thank you for listening. Next Thursday, May 6th, another episode. And then the week after that, we're going to fire off JT Miller.